They called her the she-wolf of France. A queen with ice in her eyes. And blood on her hands, that's what history said. But what if they were wrong? Behind the cruel nickname was not a monster, but a woman trapped. A queen forced into silence by the church, and betrayed by her own husband, King Edward II. She watched her kingdom fall apart, her people starving, while her king gave power to his corrupt favorites. And in that silence, she began to plan. How does a forgotten queen, bound by faith and fear, rise against a king and rewrite the story? She was born into power, a princess of France raised among kings, priests, and whispers of destiny. When Isabella of France married King Edward II of England, the world expected peace between two great kingdoms, but instead of harmony, her life became a storm. Edward was not a kind husband. He ignored his queen, giving all his love and trust to his favorites, powerful men who humiliated her in public and ruled in his name. The English court mocked her, the nobles despised her, and the church told her that a wife must suffer in silence. So Isabella learned to hide her pain. Behind her jeweled crown she wore a mask of calm, a perfect queen in a broken marriage. But deep inside something fierce was growing. Years passed and England sank into chaos. Taxes rose, wars failed, and the people began to hate their king. Even the church grew uneasy, and through it all Isabella watched, patient, silent, waiting for her moment. The year is 1325. King Edward sends Isabella back to France, a peace mission, he calls it. A quiet queen to calm angry kings, but once she crosses the sea, Isabella changes. The woman they thought was broken begins to rise. In France, she finds her voice again, and her allies. The nobles who suffered under Edward's greed, the lords who lost everything to his cruel favorites, and most importantly, her own son, young Prince Edward. Together, they form a silent alliance. Letters travel in secret, sealed with wax and hidden behind prayers. Every message carries a spark of rebellion, a promise to take back the throne. Isabella no longer writes as a queen who obeys. She writes as a woman who commands. Each word becomes a weapon. Each oath and a step toward vengeance, what began as a mission of peace, becomes the birth of a revolution. Then came the day when she could no longer pretend. Her husband's cruelty became unbearable, his allies too dangerous. When the Inquisition turned its eyes toward her, when even faith became a prison, she made her choice. In the darkness of a candlelit hall, Isabella wrote a secret letter, a message that would travel across borders, carrying a queen's quiet rebellion. She would no longer be the obedient wife or the silent prisoner. She would become something far greater, a leader, a strategist, and the woman who would one day bring down a king. History called her the she-wolf of France. But she wasn't a monster. She was a survivor, a queen who learned that silence could be broken and power could change hands. Even now, her story reminds us that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers and waits for the right moment to strike. The wind howls over the English coast as Isabella's ships appear on the horizon. She's not returning as a queen in exile, but as a conqueror. At her side rides Roger Mortimer, her ally and rumored lover. Behind them, a small army of knights, soldiers, and desperate men, all united by one cause, to bring down the tyrant king. When Isabella steps onto English soil, something incredible happens. The people rise. Villagers, nobles, and even Edward's own guards abandon him. Everywhere she rides, the crowds shout one word: "The Queen!" London, once loyal to the crown, throws open its gates for her. Church bells ring, not for war, but for hope. For the first time in years, the people see a queen who fights for them, not against them. King Edward II flees, his power crumbling faster than stone in rain. The same nobles who once feared him now turn against him. Even his closest men betray him, handing him over to Isabella's forces. In one swift, stunning moment, the unthinkable happens. The king is captured. The crown, once untouchable, now lies in the hands of the woman he once tried to silence. For the first time in English history, a queen has overthrown her own husband. Not through armies of conquest, but through courage, cunning, and revenge. As the bells echo across the land, Isabella stands in the shadows of the throne, no longer the she-wolf of France, but the queen who rewrote power itself. For a short time, Isabella finally has what she fought for: power, peace, and her son on the throne. She becomes the regent queen, guiding young Edward III, ruling a kingdom reborn. But power is never safe. Whispers crawl through the royal halls. The queen has gone too far, they say. She rules like a king. The same nobles who once cheered her now fear her strength. The church, uneasy with a woman who dared defy her husband, begins to circle like wolves. Priests whisper words like sin, rebellion, temptation. To them, Isabella's courage looks too much like pride. Her ally, Roger Mortimer, the man who once fought beside her, grows greedy. He takes too much, acts too boldly, and when her son grows older, he too begins to see his mother as dangerous. The Inquisition follows, quiet, cold, and cruel. They strip her titles, seize her riches, and confine her to a distant castle. The queen who once commanded armies now walks alone through silent corridors. Years pass. No crown, no power, only memories. And yet, even in her silence, her legend grows. They called her the she-wolf of France. But history forgot why she fought. Not for greed, not for revenge, but for freedom in a world that refused to let women lead. When Isabella dies, the bells of the church stay silent. But the people remember, because she proved that even in an age ruled by men, a queen's silence could still shake a kingdom. History still can't decide who Isabella truly was. Was she a hero who freed a broken kingdom, or a queen blinded by revenge? A savior or a sinner? One thing is certain, she refused to be silent. Her courage changed a nation, even when the world turned against her. If stories like this make you question what history hides, subscribe now, and step deeper into the dark secrets of queens, power, and rebellion. Where silence speaks louder than any sword.